Welcome to the Logic and Life Coaching Podcast, episode 44.
Everyone wants happiness and success, and we know how to get you there. Come listen to the Leadership Society of Arizona as we teach a proven logic to help you simplify life, overcome challenges, and predict the future. You're listening to the Logic and Life Coaching Podcast. Welcome to the Logic and Life Coaching Podcast. My name is Chuck Solanas, and I'm joined by our very special guest, Dr. Jacob Kashiwagi. Hello.
Hi. It's great to be here, Chuck.
I'm glad to have you on yet again to answer some more of my questions. Are you ready?
I am ready. Let's do it.
Okay. So the question for today is going to be about self-improvement. And what I wanted to really understand is, can you know for sure that someone is making good changes, and how can you measure that? So does improving yourself improve those who are around you, and does changing the people around you improve yourself? I mean, all things considered, with them being improvements of the people you used to spend time with, if that's a thing. And how do you recommend measuring this self-improvement? So there you go.
Okay, there's like a lot of questions in there, Chuck. But let's start with looking in terms of people around you and yourself. When you change the people around you, do you improve? That was one of your questions.
Mm-hmm.
And the other is, if you improve, does it improve the people around you?
Yes.
Okay. Yes and yes.
Okay, why?
Well, we have to first remember, I don't believe in influence. Right? I don't believe that one person can influence another person. So this is a little different than what most people think, in terms of when you improve, it helps the people around you, and when other people come around you, it also helps you improve. The reason why I believe, yes, you do improve even if you don't have any influence, and you improve others even though you don't have any influence, is because I truly believe that as you change and you become better, then if you're different, then you can't have the exact same environment around you. Right? So as you become different, your environment will naturally change. The people around you will change, what you do will change, the things around you, the ideas around you, all of that will change as you continually improve yourself. So for example, maybe at one time in your life you are, just trying to learn, I don't know, how to grocery shop. Then, what's going to be around you is a grocery store, and you'll try and find people who are also trying to figure out how to buy the best groceries for the cheapest cost, or whatever it might be. But as you improve from that, and then you're starting to think, okay, now I know how to do this. Now I need to do my laundry, and then you're going to go to the laundromat, or whatever it might be. As you change, as you improve, your environment will change. And so as people change around you, you are definitely getting better.
So what if less people are around you then? So assuming that you advance in your training, where you get all of your groceries delivered to you, and you get your laundry done at home, what do you think that says then?
It just says that you have advanced in your ability to buy groceries. You're much more efficient now.
Okay, because I have other people do it for me.
But what I mean is, as you change, you will see your environment change. And you might not run into anybody grocery shopping or doing your laundry or whatever, but maybe in another aspect of your life, because you don't have to focus on grocery buying and doing your laundry anymore because you have people doing it for you. And maybe you're going to spend that time in another area, and it will attract a different crowd, and you'll meet different people doing different things then. And so I'm not necessarily saying that this determines like how much you've grown, but I do say that as you change and develop, you will see the people around you change and whatnot.
Jacob, I don't feel like you're saying anything original here. You're saying that when you go to the laundromat, you're going to see different people than if you go to the grocery store.
You got it.
But that's not really, it doesn't say anything about you improving yourself. That doesn't really explain my question to you, which is the people improving around you, or you improving and changing the people around you. So
Now,
can you do a better example?
no, that example actually is answering your question, because you have to understand the principle. The principle is, as you change and develop, you will attract different people around you. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Thus, as you see people change around you, you know you're improving. Simple. If you see the same things going on around you, the same actions going around you, the same things going around you, it means you're staying the same.
Okay. So you're saying that if I just change whatever activities that I'm doing, that is a change, that like that's me growing and learning. So if one day I decide to go to a different restaurant, then that's a change. And then if I go to a different restaurant every day, then I'm really changing and growing and learning. And then, you know, what if I do my laundry in a different place, and then, oh, I can see all these different people? Are you saying that I spread myself out so much that I meet all these different people, assuming that I'm actually meeting these people rather than just doing a quick interaction with them? Or are you saying that the quality of the relationship doesn't really matter as long as the people are changing?
Natural law states, things around you change, it means you have to be changing. There's always a quote I always remind people of, and it is, things that don't change stay the same. Which also means that things that change are not staying the same. Very simple, right? No one's going to refute that. Very simple, easy idea to understand. Which means in our own lives, if you see things changing around you, you have to be growing. You have to be changing. Even if you went to a different restaurant every day, you have to be growing in the sense that you're going to know a lot more restaurants. You're going to know a lot more different foods. And hopefully, as you eat more foods, you're going to be telling the difference between the quality of different foods, what you like more, what you don't like, the different types of foods you like, the different people that eat those type of foods, right? That's one principle, is that as you do things differently, you definitely will change. Now, if you're just like trying to go through and just do a bunch of different things, not paying attention to what's going on, well, you know, will you learn as much as if you're paying attention and you're doing things, you know, with a plan and an understanding of what's going on? No, you probably won't, because it's just one principle, and it's the principle of change, right? So if you do things differently, will you change? Yes. If you do things differently and you also have a plan and a direction and you know what you're doing, you'll even change quicker, right? Does this make sense?
Explain what the plan is, a vision. Like, what do you mean by that?
Well, that would be like for a different podcast. I mean, we can get
No,
into a
no,
whole bunch of
no.
different things.
No, I'm specifically referring to, like, you're saying that if you're observant and you're doing all these things versus someone that's non-observant and doing all these things. So for example, I was when I was in college, I was in like 30 different clubs and organizations. Um, and yeah, I did a lot, but did I really understand human interactions? Did I really understand what it is that makes people work and psychology and that sort of thing? Uh, I I probably learned more when I was working with your group than doing all those different clubs and organizations. So
Well, everything has a play on your growth, right? Um, and so yes, you might have grown a lot with when you're with my group, but that could be because of everything else you were experiencing. Now, what I'm just trying to say is you did a lot and you had to have grown because of doing all these different things. Now, are there certain things that you can do additionally to just having different people around you and doing different things to help you to grow quicker? Yes. But if you just do something different, will you grow? Yes. And the more different things you do, the more you're going to grow. And the more you grow, the more you're going to attract better people who understand more and can do more around you. Hence, as you improve, yes, you grow, and yes, the other people around you will grow as well. Not because you're like influencing each other, but because when you develop yourself, then you're going to attract other people who also have developed themselves and are growing as well.
and you would think I think you would agree that it's not so much about the number of activities, it's whether or not you are enjoying those activities, if you are really adding value in those activities that you're doing. So someone that, say, spends 1 minute doing a different activity every single day, um, so like doing 100 different activities, 1 minute of doing those, versus someone that spends 100 minutes of doing one activity, would probably grow more with the 100 minutes at the one activity versus 1 minute at 100 activities.
See, this is where it gets complicated then. It depends on the person, depends on what different activities they're doing every minute. It depends on what one activity that other person is spending for 100 minutes on, right? Um, there are other things that you can do when you do different activities that will help you get a lot out of it. The more you're paying attention, the more you understand why you're doing it, right? All these things, and there's different ways you can go about doing it that will let you get more out of it as well. But even the person doing one different activity every single minute, well, one, that takes a lot of capability to do that. Two, if they're able to do that, they're going to be learning still. I don't know how much they're going to be learning, but you still will be learning. If anything, you learn how to do 100 different activities in 100 minutes. So what I'm trying to say is, yes, if you do something different, you're going to learn. And so I always try to promote people do something different. You have what you do regularly, try to do something different. Now try to be smart about doing something different. Try to do something that you're going to enjoy. Try to do something that you're good at. Try to do something that will produce some value for someone, right? That will help you get more out of it. But if all you can do is just do something different, that's going to help you, right? If all you can do is like brush your teeth with the opposite hand, right? You're still going to learn a different perspective. You're still going to get something out of doing it differently. But yes, there are other things that you can take into account if you want to develop more as you do different activities. Um, and I agree with you. When you plan things out, when you spend a little bit more time to learn something and to understand and to pay attention to it, usually you will get more out of it. Um, but if all you can do is do just one thing differently, do it. Do it. If all you can do is go to a different restaurant than you're used to, do it.
So this is dependent on a person's capability, not so much like you need to do all these different things all at once, and if everything falls by the wayside that you used to do, that's still okay. No, you still want to make sure that they change at the pace that they can handle, right?
Now here's the thing. Unfortunately, different from what most people believe, you cannot change drastically. In a person's lifetime, people will not change very much. And any person who thinks people will change drastically in their lifetime, they're not old enough yet. They haven't seen enough. Most people will not change very much. Yes, there are those people who are abnormal, outliers, right? But most people will not change very much in their lifetime. Much less in like a month period or a year's period or a 2 years period, right? People normally will change gradually. They'll change little by little. And so a lot of times this goes to your other question, how do you measure improvement? You can't measure improvement by, necessarily things being drastically different around you. Yes, if you do things differently, you will improve. But how much you're improving is a very difficult thing to do. And sometimes people think, I'm going to change everything around me, and then all of a sudden I'm going to be amazing. No, that's not how it works, right? If you do something differently, you will be improving. But most of the time, regardless of how drastically you change your environment, how many different people you put into your new environment, you're only going to grow like slowly by slowly, right? Little by little. So,
Well, I mean, yes, little by little, but you're saying that if, say, for example, someone moves to a different country, um, and they're around a completely different culture, different people, are you still saying that they'll still have the same issues that they had before? Like, um, getting out of an abusive relationship, for example, if they leave, they go to a different place, but they still haven't changed that part of themselves that leads them to those sort of relationships, they're still going to have those sort of relationships.
yeah, it's like when you change or when you move someplace differently, you get out of a relationship that wasn't the best. It means you're growing. Good for you. You did something different. Great. But remember, most people change slowly. So just because you're improving doesn't mean you're totally a different person and now you won't have any of the same issues that you've had before. Yeah, you might have some of the same issues because you're not all of a sudden a new person. But it does mean that you've improved a little. It does mean that maybe one or two of those issues that you had in your previous life won't have followed you to your new life. Does this make sense?
Yes, not like, yeah, life meaning like what you did in the past versus what you're doing now,
Yes.
right? I don't want this to be confused with like reincarnation or something like that.
Yes, I'm assuming you didn't die in between this life and this life.
Yes. Okay.
But so what I'm trying to tell you is whether you make the move because you want to see change, or whether you change something that causes your environment to change. either way, it shows improvement. It shows that you're doing something different. It shows that somehow you've learned something. It's not necessarily going to make you a whole new person. Especially it won't change you into an animal or some other type of thing, right? But it shows that yes, you are doing something better. That yes, you are improving a little bit.
So as far as like what you said in the past is anytime you see someone with a beard, they're going through some change.
Yes, it's not necessarily anytime you see someone with a beard. It's when you see someone who didn't have a beard before, and then the next time they do have a beard, it's a difference. It's a change, which means they're going through some type of change, some type of improvement, some type of figuring things out in their life.
So if I like let this grow to like 5 o'clock shadow every day, does that mean like, wow, incredible change?
That's what I'm telling you is change is little by little. So if you let it grow out to 5 o'clock shadow every day, and we see that on the podcast, or maybe even let it start growing out to a full out beard, Chuck, everyone on the podcast will know, whoa, that's a difference. Chuck is doing something different in his life, and it's going to lead to improvement or already has helped you to improve.
Wow.
A little bit, not a lot.
Yeah.
Every change is a little bit. Sometimes you can't even see the improvement. I mean, with the beard, you can see the improvement, right? It's a joke.
If you call it an improvement.
But most of the time when you make changes, the changes are so minuscule, especially from day to day, that a lot of people, the issue they come into is they look at their life and they're like, wow, things are a little bit different, but my life hasn't changed hardly, and I'm still the same person with the same issues. And they think they haven't grown any. They think they haven't developed, or they haven't actually learned from what they've been through. But they would be wrong. Everybody's always learning. And even though you can't measure it or you can't see it, that little change happened. And it will keep happening. And hopefully in 10 years, 15 years, you can actually see it.
Hopefully. Okay, well, all right, so do you have any tips for like evaluating self-improvement?
Now, in terms of evaluating self-improvement, this one's a really tough one. I think for this podcast, the only tip I have for you for self-improvement, do something different.
What about find a mentor?
Oh yeah, find a mentor too. Well, you see, if you don't have a mentor, you got to find a mentor. But if you do have a mentor, maybe find another mentor. Just kidding. Wow. But maybe ask the mentor something different than what you usually do. Maybe talk about something different with the mentor.
Okay.
And that is the tip for this podcast in your life. Very simple. Just do something different.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Jacob, for answering my questions on self-improvement. In summary, change is slow. The people that change around you are changing for a reason because you're changing. And just change something. Do something different.
Yeah, do something different. That is the success tip for today.
Perfect. Well, thank you, listeners, for listening and viewers for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you for listening to the Logic and Life Coaching Podcast. It would be great if you could take a moment to write us a review. For any questions, comments, or topics that you would like to have addressed on the show, email the team at leadaz.org. To learn more about the Leadership Society of Arizona, visit us at leadaz.org.